going on, everybody? This is Tech. I got myself a Kindle Paperwhite, and the reason I got it is because I've been reading stuff on my phone and it's been giving me eye strain. So I needed something to alleviate that eye strain, and I still wanted to read stuff like books, but I didn't really want to lug around actual books with me. So I finally decided to get a Kindle Paperwhite, and I am very excited that I did. It's a fantastic purchase from my end. I actually got this on Prime Day for only $89.99, whereas originally it cost $119. So I'm very happy with my purchase, and I got a sweet discount with it too. So I do want to start out with the design of the Kindle Paperwhite. It's not really a huge deal, but it does matter because you are going to be holding it in your hands, but you're not really buying it for the design, you're really buying it for the screen. It is completely made of plastic, and so is the screen. So just by looking at it at first, it does look kind of cheap, but once you start holding it and kind of just using it, it doesn't really feel that cheap. It actually has some heft to it. It feels pretty solid. There's no weird creaks or anything like that. And it does have some weight to it. It definitely doesn't feel like a cheap, mid-range tablet or anything where, one of those Chinese tablets. It doesn't feel like that. It definitely feels like it has some solidarity to it. It definitely has some weight behind it. So that's good. And the design itself, like aesthetically wise, it doesn't really, look that great or anything. It's not an iPad or anything, but it's just there. You're not really supposed to look at the design. I don't really think that's the main point of the Kindle. The main point is just to read books and not be distracted by anything else. So that's why they kept the design really simple, and I'm actually glad for that. The screen resolution is extremely high on the display. It's an e-ink display and it has 300 pixels per inch. I mean, you can put your face on there and you will not see any rough edges around the letters or anything. It's very, very sharp. Very nice screen to look at. It literally looks like a piece of paper that was printed off, or a book or anything. You cannot tell the difference. It is very sharp, and it's not like a regular screen on your iPhone or anything like that where you can see the pixels, because this actually uses real ink. It's an e-ink display, so once it displays an image, it's just there. I mean, you're not going to see really like any pixels per se. You're just going to see like ink. It's perfect pretty much. It's like I'm writing something down with a pencil or something. It's just that the edges of the letters and everything are going to be a lot sharper than the previous generation Kindles. That's where the resolution really matters with these e-ink displays. And navigating the Kindle's interface is pretty straightforward. You start out at the home screen with the layout of your current books and reading list to the right, and at the bottom are some recommendations and ads. Once you go into a book, you are presented with just the letters and no distractions. If you want to change settings, you can click the top bar, and this will give you buttons for changing things like the text sizing and font, and buttons for navigating the interface. The Kindle has a store you can buy books from, usually at a discounted price just for the Kindle. There's also a browser that you wouldn't think would be useful, but it actually is. It allows you to do things like click on links inside of a book and also go to websites that have articles. And it has an article mode so that the web page is optimized for the Kindle. It's actually very similar to an iPhone. When I go to a web page, sometimes I'll have a little option that I can click on, and it optimizes the article or web page to only text and images that are optimized just for the screen real estate. So this makes it very useful for reading, and the same thing is present with the Kindle, and that's actually very awesome. So this way you can go to like New York Times, you can go to any news sites, you can go to really any website that has any articles and really use it that way, which is pretty much opens up a whole new thing. There's also a vocabulary builder inside of the Kindle, which allows you to go further into words that you have highlighted inside of a book. This is very useful for me because English is not my first language, and it helps a ton to learn complex words. This is great because sometimes I do like to highlight words in a book, and sometimes I forget that meaning of the word, so I like to go back into this vocabulary builder and learn those words again. And also, I want to say I do love that the dictionary feature of the Kindle. When you're reading a book and you just click on one word, you can look up instantly the dictionary meaning of that word. Whereas like if I was on my iPhone, for example, I would have to copy that word. I would have to go into my dictionary app, my separate app. So I would have to exit my book app, go separately into a dictionary app, and I would have to look it up on the dictionary and then go back into my reading app. So that to me is a big distraction. Sometimes I'll go, to Facebook or kind of forget what I was reading. Whereas in Kindle, I can just look it up right in the book and it's awesome. It's just right there. And I think one of the biggest appeals to the Kindle for me is that it is distraction free, because on my phone, when I'm reading something, I'll kind of read a few paragraphs and then maybe I'll be distracted by going to Facebook or YouTube real quick and I'll stop reading the book. Whereas in the Kindle, technically I could go to Facebook, but obviously I'm not gonna go to Facebook because it's incredibly slow in the Kindle. So I just use it for reading and it's very useful for that part. It's also more useful than having an actual book because it's more comfortable to hold, and it has a light display built into it, so you can actually turn that light on and use it in the dark. Whereas a real book, you can't use that in the dark. You're gonna have to have some external light source to be able to read that book. The Kindle has its own light source, so it's actually very useful, more useful than a book and more useful than an iPhone or an actual tablet for reading, because it's better for your eyes and it's also distraction free. So if you guys want to buy the Amazon Kindle, I will leave the link in the description below. Thank you guys for watching this video. Go and like, subscribe, comment, and God bless.